Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's guest, but as always, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, don't hit that fast forward button. These are companies that I used as an athletic director. Even Ohio University, my assistant AD got his master's degree from Ohio University, so I can speak firsthand to how much it's been valuable to him. So, take the next couple of minutes, listen to these shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to thank Home Campus for their support of the podcast. Home Campus is a platform that you're going to use every single day for things like scheduling, rosters, communication. How about uploading athletic eligibility and clearance information? Who doesn't do that every day? Home Campus is going to do all of these things and more. It's going to do them better. It's going to do them faster. It's going to give you a lot more time back in your schedule. To get started, all you have to do is go to homecampus.com. That's it, homecampus.com. We'd also like to thank SnapRaise. If you're looking for a fundraising platform, stop right here. SnapRaise, hands down, the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school because it works. Coaches loved it. Our parents loved it. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you found it. Use snapraise.com. You're going to be glad you did. We also want to say thank you to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their interactive touchscreen consoles. It's also a great way to show off your school's history along with your proudest moments. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. We'd also like to thank Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I wanted a platform that was going to work for all of our teams, and Huddle came through like a champ. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it. It allowed our kids to experience athletics at the highest level. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Your kids are on social media. A lot of times, so are the parents. And if you're not putting out content to celebrate your teams and promote them, you're really missing out. Go to Gipper.com. Their team will have you creating world-class marketing content in seconds, and it's so easy, even I can do it. Gipper's used and trusted by over 4,000 high school and college programs. It's professional graphic design made easy. Go to Gipper.com to get started. We want to thank Athletic Surveys. We want to thank Sideline Interactive first. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. and schedule a live web demo to see their score tables and their boards in action. Hands down, probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an AD was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Check out their great products today. We want to thank Ohio University and their online Masters in Athletic Administration. This is an affordable 20-month online program. It's not only going to get you your master's degree, you're going to have 11 NIAAA leadership training courses under your belt to use towards your CAA. Go to ohio.edu/info/MAA, the Ohio University Online Master's Degree. We also want to thank Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. I don't think I need to say anything more. Hometown is digital ticketing that offers more support, more security, and more customization. Go to hometownticketing.com to let them help you make the best online ticketing solution. And now we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. At my school, we use surveys for everything, and the information that came back was incredibly valuable because it included everyone, not just the complainers and gripers you already hear from, but the 98% that supports your program. And that information was incredibly valuable when you're talking to a frustrated parent, maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going up to Wisconsin, and our guest today is Stephanie Hauser. Stephanie has a very extensive background in athletics. She is a certified athletic administrator through the NIAAA, longtime coach and AD, but now she serves as the executive director for the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association. And very excited to hear her perspective from a number of different angles on our topic. So, Stephanie Hauser, welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate you having me.
Well, I know it's a busy time for anyone associated with athletics. Spring sports it seems to be the busiest season of them all. For our listeners, we're recording this on May 21st, so it's going to be very timely when you're listening to it. Stephanie, we always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us that quick bio, where you were born, where you grew up, maybe take us up through your own college days, and then we'll take a quick break. But what's the Stephanie Hauser origin story?
Well, like many of us who landed in the role of athletic director at the high school level, I was the daughter of a high school teacher and a coach and had the good fortune to play for my own dad. I was a three-sport athlete in Antigo, Wisconsin, a small town in northern Wisconsin, played volleyball, basketball, and softball. Went on and decided I wanted to just be a regular college kid. I went to the University of Wisconsin for the first 3 years of my college career, finished up my chemistry degree, was still not sure what I wanted to do. So I went to one of our smaller UW schools, a Division III school. I got my teacher's license to teach chemistry and biology, and I played 3 varsity sports at UW Superior. I played volleyball, basketball, and softball for 2 years. So I took kind of a little bit different winding path to the college athletics scene. Married my husband, David Hauser, who also was a college level student athlete, played basketball with my brother at Minnesota Duluth. That's how I met my spouse. And he also is currently an athletic director, was a physical education teacher for most of his career. And we have 3 children, Nikki, Sam, and Joey, who also were student athletes in high school and went on and competed at the college level. And now 2 of the 3 are competing at the professional level. So we have a family full of student athletes, and athletics has been really good to our family. And now it's my turn to give back.
Well, I want to dive into that story maybe on a different episode. Very cool stuff. I think you might be the first chemistry teacher that we've had on that was into athletics. That's another story. I want to go back to your high school days. You mentioned you played for your dad. Now I'm a little bit older than you are. How was it at your high school? Did the coaches of the other sports, were they trying to say, hey, Stephanie, you shouldn't, whatever, play basketball. You should be playing this sport year round. Was that a thing back then for you?
I'm old enough to admit that that was not a thing back then. AAU basketball was just kind of coming onto the scene, and it truly was only for the elite. We were encouraged to play 3 sports, and we loved playing 3 sports. Our summer schedules were still very much our own. We had lots to do in the summertime besides playing high school sports, but no, it was very different then. And I did play the 3 sports that I loved the most. I did 1 year of track and field instead of softball, and that was fun. But softball was really my love in the springtime. So enjoyed it all.
I ask this question frequently, and I'm curious to hear your response. Can you think of a moment, maybe it was in high school, maybe it was in college, because you were also a 3-sport college athlete, that at the time it really didn't seem like much, but looking back with perspective and wisdom, you can point to that moment and say, hey, that was a significant moment for me. Anything come to mind?
In high school, again, it was just different in the 80s, playing high school sports. It didn't feel like there was such demands on you like there are for the kids now that are playing year round. There were moments when you had that big research project that was due that you wondered why you're doing so much and putting so much on your plate. But truly, kind of felt like that's how life was supposed to be. In college, my plate got full with some of my coursework, and I was on the road a lot with the 3 sports. And so there were some professors that weren't sure why I was doing all of that. But again, you just feel like it's kind of what you were made to do. It's what your enjoyment was. And so I loved it. The work-life balance that I have now truly came from those lessons that I learned and kind of juggling all those balls in the air. Probably become a very good and effective multitasker because of it. But the significant moments I remember truly were just the bus rides, the pasta parties. Of course, going to state championships and winning conference championships are memorable, but it's the small things, the times of just being with your teammates and your friends, playing cards in the back of the bus.
Oh, absolutely. You probably see me laughing here. Um, Real quickly before we take our first break, any memories that I'm sure there are, any memories that you could share of playing for your dad? That's always a unique experience. Anything stick out from those memories?
I have 2 memories, one that makes me smile and one that makes me go like this. The first one is my mom took me shopping to a nearby town in Wausau to go get a prom dress. I had, dated the same boy all through high school, went to all the proms with him. And so we went over to Wausau to get me a new prom dress. And I came home with a pair of top tens high tops from East Bay instead. And my dad was so proud of me that I came home with basketball shoes instead of a prom dress.
Uh,
And the second memory that I have that again makes me do one of these is my dad was hard on me. He was harder on me than probably the rest of the girls on the team. I look back now and he certainly felt that he needed to be. And I remember coming home from practice one night and taking those same shoes and throwing them across the room and saying, I quit. I'm done. I'm never playing for you again. I don't want to play for my dad. You're harder on me than you are everybody else. And he just looked at me and he just started laughing. He goes, go pick up your shoes, take them up to your room. I'll see you at practice tomorrow. And I remember stomping up the steps, being so angry, thinking, never going to play for him again. And of course, I was at the practice the next day. And my senior year, when we had our basketball banquet, boy, was I proud that I got to play for my dad. But there were trying times when it's hard. It's hard when your dad is also your coach because you both have to take those hats off when you walk in the door at home, and that's very difficult to do.
Now, again, I'm having flashbacks to our own experience. My wife, career coach, and we coached our kids for much of their life. Not so much in high school, although I coached my son in football. But it can be very challenging. I remember driving home once after football practice. My son's next to me. I think he was a junior, and I go, that last set of up downs I made you do. That was for the team, right? And he goes, "Yeah, Dad, I know." So uh, you do the best you can. Um, let's go and take our first break. For our listeners, we're visiting today with Stephanie Hauser. She's a certified athletic administrator, longtime AD and coach, and currently the executive director for the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association. We're going to hear more about that and more. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support. Go to their website and take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's a great way to show off your school record boards for all the teams, for all the sports, or your school's Hall of Fame, or simply share your school's unique history and your proudest moments. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check them out today. We also want to say thanks to Snap Raise. If you've ever spent weeks and weeks on a fundraiser and got little, if any, return, stop right here. Go to snapraise.com. Hands down, the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at my school with tremendous success because it works. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you've found it. Go to snapraise.com.
Are you ready?
Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Our guest today is Stephanie Hauser from the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association. Stephanie, you took us on your journey, a high school student athlete, college student athlete in three sports. Goodness gracious. Um, Share a little bit about that journey that you mentioned as a teacher and a coach that has led you now to your current position with the Wisconsin Association.
I, like most people, never imagined that I would be sitting in this chair. That wasn't part of the career goals that I had as a young teacher and a young coach, but every opportunity opens up a new path for you, and it's all about timing, it's all about opportunity, and I was given a lot of really neat opportunities. Was blessed to have this opportunity. But I started out like most of us did, Jake. I was a teacher, I was a coach, I coached just about every sport there was. Volleyball was my most loved sport to coach. And so when my husband and I got married and started having kids, we both decided just to coach the one sport. And again, volleyball was my sport of choice. Did that, had three children, kept teaching. And then I made a kind of a big career decision as a mother and as a wife, and I stayed home with my children for 3 years. And I only coached volleyball. And then I was also the president of our Coaches Association. It was 3 years that I have never regretted for one moment in my life. It was special. Got to spend time with my three little ones who were all within 5 years of each other. And then when I was ready to head back to work after 3 years, I decided to put my name in for positions both as a teacher, but also as an administrator. I had gotten my master's degree and my principal license while I was raising kids and teaching. And so I took my first administrative job, which was an assistant principal position, as well as a 6 through 12 activities and athletics director. And so that was my first experience in the administrative world, and I loved it. I was hooked immediately. Had a really good fortune in year two of going to the NIAAA convention and got to listen to a speaker, Bruce Brown, through proactive coaching.
Mhm.
Outstanding. He was a career changer for me. Up until that point, I really felt like I was a manager of our athletics and activities programs. And I really realized that I had potential to be a leader, not just a manager. And Bruce was the difference maker for me. So much of what he talked about at that conference opened up my eyes. And I really looked at things more broadly. How can I make a difference on a bigger landscape than just making sure I'm scheduling games, scheduling officials? How can I help these coaches engage and understand that they're making a difference on these kids and that they're life changers? And something that he said too was by doing that for your coaches, you're also changing their lives, because coaches can burn out pretty quickly if they're just going after the tallies in the win column. They're going to find out real quickly that those are few and far between. They come with talent, and even when you've got your best kids, wins aren't guaranteed. And so if you're hanging your hat on just that, you're not going to last very long in this career. So I spent 4 years in that role, and then was given an opportunity at one of our biggest high schools in the state to also be an assistant principal and athletic director, and made that move. We picked up and moved our family here to Stevens Point. The high school is SPASH, Stevens Point Area Senior High, and I was there for 8 years in that role until coming to the WIAA as an assistant director 9 years ago. Again, incredible opportunities at SPASH. Had offered just about every sport the WIAA had to offer, a very large coaching staff. I oversaw 2 assistant athletic directors at not only at the high school, but at our 2 junior highs as well, and expanded, had Bruce speak to them, grew a character program that we were excited about. And again, just one opportunity just kind of kept leading to the next. And when you're presented with an opportunity to make a difference on a bigger landscape, you feel blessed and honored, a little humbled, a little bit nervous, but you know that those reasons are coming to you for a reason. It's not just by chance that happens. I pray the prayer of Jabez very often, and it talks about expanding your territory. And I believe in that you're presented with opportunities for a reason. They don't land in your lap by chance. So
Oh, no,
you go ahead.
I was going to say, I want to go back to that first NIAAA conference that you went to. There's an expression, I'm sure you've heard it, for first time attendees, it's like trying to drink from the fire hose. Bruce Brown had that impact on, I'm going to say, hundreds, maybe even thousands of other athletic directors. What was something that he said? You talked about going from a manager to a leader, and I think that's a phase we all go through as ADs. What was something that you got from that conference, maybe from Bruce Brown or somebody else, that you came back to your school and immediately started the groundwork to apply that? Can you think of that one thing that really impressed you?
Absolutely. It was his Champions of Character program that he had been using in the NAIA. So we came back to New London at the time. I was at my first athletic director position, and we implemented a Bulldogs of Character program. And we partnered with our local county, and we built foundation, we built sponsorships, we built oh gosh, student ambassadors, community ambassadors in the program. It grew and it still exists. 20 years later, they still have the Bulldogs of Character program. I'm really, really proud of that it stuck, because that means it wasn't about a person bringing an idea. It was truly about the idea. The community bought in, the school bought in, and they loved it. And that was something that Bruce talked about at that NIAAA conference down in New Orleans. That was fun too.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. Um, I think sometimes athletic directors, and it depends on the school and their personality, but I think sometimes ADs can struggle with building a connection, making it part of the culture that the kids, they are student athletes and having that connection with the faculty. I'm going to guess that as a chemistry teacher, you didn't have that type of challenge, or am I completely off base?
I mean, you have to be intentional about finding ways to get kids connected. You know, as a chemistry teacher, I used to have kids serve as lab assistants. And it was a voluntary position. They didn't get any credit for it or anything. They came in during their study halls, got them involved. They helped mix chemicals. They helped properly dispose of chemicals. They helped me do lab setup. They helped clean hardware and glassware when the class, when that was needed. So I think it's just all about being intentional. You have to find ways to get your students engaged. When I became an athletic director, we hired athletic director student assistants. And so they came and they worked for the entire semester during their study halls in our office. We gave them some filing tasks. We gave them some game roster preparation, hanging signage when we're hosting a tournament game. Again, you have to find those ways to intentionally involve students. We now at the WIAA are embarking upon our inaugural WIAA student leadership group. We just received almost 300 applications, and our staff has just completed vetting all of those applications, and now we'll be moving into the selection process of the students. So you have to seek ways. You can't just hope that students will find a way as a student athlete or as a student to get connected with their school. You have to present opportunities for them, make sure that it's right in front of them, and make it seem like it's an exciting and fun opportunity for them.
Oh no, absolutely. Great ideas. And anytime, as getting the students involved, they very often they take ownership of that program and really help serve. You used the word earlier, ambassadors, serve as ambassadors for your brand as an AD. Your current position, and we're going to talk about this in our next segment, you're the executive director for the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association. But obviously, you know your way around the world of high school athletic administration. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit, find out how you did things, or maybe find out more about the WIAA, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Oh, I'm happy to share my cell phone with you if you'd like that. It's listed on all of my information, and so they can certainly reach out to me through my email address. It's my first initial last name, S. Hauser, Hauser, at WIAAWI.org. Sometimes people get this WIA confused with the Washington WIAA. Ours is a little different with that prefix or that ending WIAAWI. My cell phone number, 715-340-1428. That rings whether I'm here in the office. I've got it tied into my office phone as well. You can give me a call. I'm always happy to talk about that. We do hire interns. sometimes just for the summer on an as-needed basis, sometimes for an entire semester. I would encourage people that are aspiring to be athletic administrators at the highest level, reach out to us. We always have opportunities to have you join us at a state championship just to get a little flavor of it, or like I said, a longer commitment. I know that our executive directors all across this nation also welcome people to do that. It is our duty to make this a sustainable, a sustainable landscape, the education-based athletics landscape. We want to build it, make it stronger than how we found it, and then make it sustainable for the future by engaging the young people.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate you sharing those opportunities. And I think I noticed, and maybe the timing's already passed, but you were looking for like an assistant director at the state level. Is that position still open?
It was closed yesterday.
Oh,
And we received 24 applicants. And so that is an outstanding number. Staff is currently vetting those applicants right now. That's what I was doing before we jumped on the call today.
all right. Well, again, if you're interested in finding out about some best practices for athletic leadership or getting involved at the state level with the WIAA, reach out to Stephanie. We'll give that information out again at the end of the podcast. Let's go and take another break, but we're coming back with more. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to Home Campus for their support of the podcast. Home Campus is a platform that you're going to use every single day for things like scheduling, uploading results and rosters, communicating with your stakeholders, even your state association. How about athletic eligibility and clearance? Who doesn't do that every day? Home Campus is going to do all of these things and more. It's going to do them better. It's going to do them faster. It's going to give you a lot more time back in your day. To get started, all you have to do is go to homecampus.com. That's it, homecampus.com. We'd also like to say thanks to Gipper. You know, students today, even their parents, are on social media. And if you're not posting content to celebrate your teams and athletes, you're really missing out. Go to Gipper.com. They'll have you creating world-class marketing content in seconds, and it's so easy, even I can do it. Gipper's used and trusted by over 4,000 high school and college programs across the country. It's professional graphic design made easy. Go to Gipper.com for more information. We want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their score tables and their score boards in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Of course, we used it for home games, but we also used it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. Their products are tremendously versatile, and the customer service is just outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com for more information. Welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. We're visiting today with Stephanie Hauser, the Executive Director for the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association. Stephanie, you shared your journey as a coach, as a teacher, and as a building athletic director, even an assistant principal. Well, now you're the leader of your state's athletic association, which is, I'm going to say, could probably be a challenging task. How did that all come about? And, what are some things that, you've noticed maybe that surprised you about the job since you first started?
I loved being an athletic director. I loved it so much that when the assistant director position opened up 9 years ago, I waited until the last possible day to drive my resume over. I just wasn't sure I was ready to leave the high school setting. I loved being around students every day. I liked it when coaches walked into my office. I just enjoyed the high school events. And so it was really a tough decision for me. Once I got into the process and I really allowed my mind to kind of go into the potential of that next level of leadership, I fully embraced it and I was all in. My first 6 years in this office, I was mentored by some assistant directors and our former executive director who really showed me the ropes and helped me understand that I only knew what I knew. You think you know it all when you're an athletic director or you've been doing it for several years, you're a veteran, but there's so much more that you just don't realize that goes on behind the scenes at the next level. It's one more level of event management and dealing with so many different parties and voices. So it was a learning 6 years. Again, I felt like I got a little better at it each year. At some point, you kind of feel like you're back in the athletic director saddle again, because it is the same job on one hand, it's just on a bigger scale. It's about relationships, it's about being organized, it's about being an effective communicator, it's about planning, it's about preparing for the what if scenarios. It's decision making on the fly and decision making in the long haul. So a lot of the same skill set that I used as an athletic director and assistant principal was what I used in those first years here in the office.
Now, I think I saw where you served as the assistant director for, was it 6 years
Yep,
before taking over the reins?
right.
How did that happen? And, what was maybe something that surprised you about the executive position compared to your previous as the assistant
Yeah.
director?
So that has been the biggest change, I would say, in each transition that I've made from teacher coach to athletic director, from athletic director to assistant director of the WIAA. All of those, I feel like were a lot of the similar skill sets. A lot of what I, took from the previous position into the new position was almost immediately applicable. This new role has probably been the biggest difference. I'm in year 3 now. I would say I'm starting to get it figured out. Certainly a lot of the same, people skills, relationships when it comes to the people, but I don't really do any event planning anymore. And so my managerial skills are gone. It's different now. Now I feel more like a person that truly just has to wear all of the hats all of the time. I need to be a leader for the people here in this building. I have to help them grow as professionals, help provide them professional, training, sit down and have hard conversations with people and be the boss sometimes when that's not such an easy thing to do. Have those hard conversations. I've got to work with a legal team. We've got legal matters that are dropped into our lap, sometimes so suddenly that you're not prepared for them, some that are coming. Have to take phone calls from politicians and deal with that side of things. There's always a flavor. You think you're in this world of wholesomeness, of just students that want to be student athletes and kids that want to grow and learn. And then all of a sudden you realize there's these other entities out there that are paying attention. So I would say that this one has been the biggest eye opener for me. It's been a new level of getting used to it. It is getting easier. I'm getting better at it. I'm growing each year. I'm learning from the other executive directors across the nation. I lean hard on those colleagues who've been doing this and are veterans in this role. They have great advice. Just like an athletic director, I have my group of 50 other executive directors who also have experienced everything I have. That's always my advice to a new athletic director. You're going to feel like you're on an island because nobody else in your school district knows what you do, but every other athletic director across the state and across the nation does understand. So I tap into those resources a lot, just like I advise athletic directors to do as well.
We've been doing a series here on the podcast. I think we've done maybe 5 or 6 so far, featuring staff, and we had the executive director of our Florida High School Athletic Association on. We've had the director of eligibility and compliance and others. In fact, we have one that's airing this coming Friday, just before your episode does. Um, and they have all been asked this question. So I'm going to ask you this question too. If there was a message that you could share with those state legislators or parents that many times, well, maybe not in your state, but in Florida, our state association is often looked at as the evil entity that's making all these rules and penalizing all these kids and coaches. Um, what message would you want to share with the community? Not the ADs. I think the ADs and the coaches get it, but the rest of Wisconsin. Am I putting you on the spot, or do you have a message that you can share?
I think the biggest message I would have is trust the process. These state athletic associations have been in existence for, some of us 127 years. And there are very, very well-established processes and procedures. And there is really never a decision that's made without gathering the data, looking at past practice, having the information that you need. We are consistent. We apply the rules uniformly to all. And it is about as fair as life can be. We all know life isn't fair, but certainly trust the process. Everybody has life experiences that helps them be a good decision maker. And state associations are people that have been doing this their whole lives. It's one of the messages I just shared with our membership at the annual meeting just a few weeks ago. I said, look around the room at the 515 schools that are here today. There is no one else in this state better to make decisions for our student athletes than the people in this room. We know better. We understand the ebbs and flows. We understand the pressures and the balance issues that are going on with these kids in their lives. We understand the mental health challenges that they are undergoing. We understand the pressures of AAU and club sports. We are here to provide an education-based opportunity for our student athletes. Certainly the challenges that all of us face in these associations is that though all those successes that are seen by the hundreds of thousands of kids across the state, they aren't the ones that the media likes to talk about. The media and the politicians usually only like to talk about those that they believe someone has been treated unequally. And the reality is they're being treated as the membership rules state all of our student athletes should be treated. And again, rules are applied uniformly and consistently. And if you trust in the process and get the information you need, ask the questions, ask the right people, being informed, an informed stakeholder. That's really valuable.
Oh no, absolutely. Information, and I mean this in a very positive way. Information is power. Whether you're an
Yes.
AD, a parent, or a student athlete, and I think state associations. It's been my experience, and I've visited quite a few states. They are all about education, educating schools, principals, ADs, coaches, kids, and parents, but the ADs, we have to do our job too. We have to make sure our coaches know what the rules are. And as a longtime official, I'm sure, you can appreciate this. Coaches don't always know the rules.
Well,
Um, Again, the state associations, you made a great point. In most states, they've been around 50 plus years, some over 100 years, and trusting the process. I really like that. Let's go and take another break, but we are going to come back with some more, including our AD toolbox. So please stick around. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to thank our good friends at Huddle for their support of the podcast. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I wanted a platform that was going to work for all of our teams, and Huddle came through like a champ. Our coaches, our student athletes, even our parents just loved all the tools that Huddle provided that allowed us to experience high school sports at the highest level. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Ohio University's online Master of Science in Athletic Administration. This is an affordable 20-month master's program, and it focuses exclusively on high school athletic administration. When you finish, you're not only going to have your master's degree, you'll have completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses that can go towards your RAA or your CAA. To get started, all you have to do is go to ohio.edu/info/MAA, the Ohio University Online Masters. And we want to thank Hometown Ticketing. Hometown Ticketing is the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. I don't think I need to say anything more. Go to hometownticketing.com. It's digital ticketing that offers more support, more security, and more customization. Hometown is here to help you make the best online ticketing solution. hometownticketing.com. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Stephanie, you and I were talking during the break, and the topic of NIL came up. Certainly a hot topic, if you will.